When you first step into the crypto market, there are many rules that experienced investors will tell you. And often it's quite hard to keep track of every single rule, and you might often forget some. And I'd say one of the most important rules is to actually know when to sell a token that you think might be dying. Today I'm going to show you some tips on how to actually spot some projects that might be dying, whether it's less activity on the social medias, news articles and all that sort of stuff. So sit back, relax and enjoy. One of the quickest and easiest ways to actually determine a project's longevity is to have a look on a website like CoinMarketCap. I'm going to use NEO as an example for this entire video. I'm not saying that NEO is a dead coin, it's just one that I've had experience with in the past in previous bull markets. So I'm just going to use it as an example today. So we've got NEO up on CoinMarketCap at the moment, and you can see how well it did back in the previous bull run of 2017, and you can see how well it's done compared to the most recent bull run. So you can still see that there is activity and there is price ranges, but you can see it didn't do as well as it first did a couple of years ago. And it's super easy to find all these projects, so you just hit the search bar at the top, type in the coin that you want, and you've got all the info there. Just click on all and you can see the entire price history since it's been on CoinMarketCap. You can use other websites as well, such as TradingView. You can compare it to different exchanges for when it got listed on them. But I just like to use CoinMarketCap because it's usually one of the first places where you'll see a chart appear. But the idea is, if it's been steadily rising in terms of its price, or it's still got some activity in its price, then it's still a token that has a community and still has active buyers and sellers, and that's really important. Another way to determine whether a project might be dying or not is to just check its social stats and engagement on various social media platforms. I'm sort of using NEO again as the example, but I'm using Social Blade for this, and I'll leave a link to all of the things I use in the description. Social Blade, you can basically see the history of an account, whether it's on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, anything that you choose. And when you scroll further down, you can see sort of daily stats and a bit of a summary as to how many followers they've gained or lost during them days, and how many tweets they've put out as well. And you can compare this to price trends at the same time, so you could see if there's some kind of correlation between their social media presence increasing compared to the price increasing as well. Social Blade gives an insane amount of stats on each channel. You can see the user summary, some more detailed statistics, which we'll have a look at now. So you've got the more detailed statistics at the bottom where it shows gained followers, following and tweets graph. So you can just see how many followers they might have gained. See, back in 2017/2018, when the project was doing really well in price, you can see that their social media was also doing really well. But you could see that they were actually producing less tweets back then compared to what they are now. And then when you see the most recent bull run that's happened, you can see a lot less gain in terms of followers, and it was less gain in terms of price as well. But they put more tweets out. There is still an active community in development there, but it's kind of slowed down in terms of finding new buyers and new people. I wouldn't really say that this is like a deciding factor on whether a project is dead or not, but it's just something you could do sort of alongside the rest of your checks. You might as well check it out because all these stats are free, so it's there for anyone else to see. Another thing you could also do is to check the Google Trends as well. I quite like Google Trends. It's not something I'd used too much in the past, but I'm starting to use it more and more now when it comes to researching different projects and just things in general. For the example for this, I've typed in NEO Crypto. I've typed in NEO Crypto because NEO, the word, is used in many different forms, so at least adding crypto on the end is making it a little bit more accurate. And you can see over time, again during the bull markets of 2017/18, you could see it had a big increase in interest, and then the most recent one didn't have as much of an interest. Really easy and simple stats to just take a look at, and again you can just correlate this with all your other checklists as well. Another way of checking a project's activity, it can be from news articles and their own blog posts as well. News articles, you can use websites such as CoinDesk or Cointelegraph, and you can just hit the search button on either website and you can just type in the crypto project, and it will bring up all articles relating to the token. So you can see that NEO doesn't have many articles at the moment, or new articles on CoinDesk. It's showing sort of the most recent ones as ones that aren't really to do with the project. It's more about just general crypto. But I decided to go on to Cointelegraph and type in NEO as well, and it's come up with some more recent articles. Some of them are a bit random, as you can see that these aren't related to NEO at all. But then you've got this one, which is to do with NEO, and then you've got a couple of others down here, which just happened in February of this year. So there are still some new articles coming out to do with the token. I'd say that one sort of rule to have is that if the project is continuously receiving new news articles, and they are good news articles, then the project should still be developing, and it should eventually be building back up in price again. And at the same time, if their own blog is receiving continuous updates, that's always good to see as well, because you can see that they are still developing the project. This is Neo's own blog, and you can see that they've had some relatively recent ones. They've had quite a few in February, a couple in January as well, just explaining what's been going on in the ecosystem. And again, if you want to do more analysis, then you could even compare these blog posts and the date that these were released compared to the token price on that single day as well, to see if there's any correlation between some of these blog posts getting released and the price rising or falling. Yeah, there's so many statistics that you've got out there at your disposal for free, so it's worth just making a bit of a note on even this video so you can see and make your own checklist and do your own research in the future. One thing to really take note of is if you see any posts to do with influencers in the space promoting projects, and you only see the price rising when they pay for influencers, it's a little bit risky in that sense, because it's just all temporary hype that these influencers are creating, and it's not good for the longevity of the project. So if you only see a project that is rising in price because of influencers talking about it, you do want to be careful when you're investing into those sort of projects. Yeah, at the end of the day, projects need to have users that are interested in sort of seeing the project do well in the future, and you don't really want users that are just buying because their favorite influencer says that the project's going to the moon. I've used the word development quite a lot in this video, and I'm going to continue to use it now. In terms of development, you can actually check whether some projects have active developments, because most projects are open source. These projects and their actual code can be viewed on websites like GitHub. With this website, you can hit the search button at the top and type in your cryptocurrency, and you can see just the entire project and its contributors as well. So you can see here that this is the Neo project as a whole, and it's sort of split into different parts of the ecosystem, and you can see that there's continuous developments happening on these various sectors. So when you click on the repositories section on GitHub, you can see that it's sort of been split down, and it's easier for you guys to see. You can actually see when each sector was last updated, which means that there's still active discussion and continuous development as well within this particular ecosystem and project. You can see that the most important ones, such as the Neo nodes and modules and Neo in general, has been updated in the last 5 or 6 hours, so you can see that it is continuous. If you're looking at your project now and you're seeing that it's not been updated for a month, that's definitely a red flag in my eyes. You could also check a project's roadmap as well, to see what they've done in the past and whether they've stuck to that roadmap, and also what they've got planned for the future. If you feel like it's a pretty boring roadmap for the future, then it's just something you can sort of take a mental note of when it comes to making your own decisions in terms of whether you want to buy or sell. Depending on the type of project that it is, there are even more ways to check how well a project's doing. If it's a decentralized app or dApp, you can check some statistics using something like dApp Radar, which I'll leave a link to in the description. And with that, you can check the statistics such as the daily volume, like the amount of money that's going through these dApps, and also the amount of users as well. And you can look at that over a period of time. You could also check the number of unique addresses depending on what chain the project is on. If it's on Ethereum, then you can use something like Etherscan to actually see the number of unique holders. If it's on Binance Smart Chain, then you can use BSC Scan. If it's related to a DeFi protocol, then you can check its total value locked by using something like DeFi Llama. And again, we have Neo as the example. So you can actually see on here that the total value locked of Neo is 114.8 million, which is actually down from when it first started. It was more than double that. So it's in actually a bit of a downtrend since these have come out. But you can see that there's not really a lot of apps that you can use at the moment. So maybe there's going to be a bit more development before we start to see an uptrend there. Lastly, you should make sure that you actually check out the tokenomics of the project. Things like checking the actual supply distribution upon the token's release is really important as well. And also checking whether the token has a fixed supply or an infinite supply. This is actually a really important thing, because knowing whether it's got a supply cap or not could really affect the price in terms of a bear market in the future. You should also make sure to check the actual distribution across wallets as well. If you see a wallet that holds 25% of the supply of the entire project, then that's a bit of a red flag, as they just hold way too much in one place. It just means that if they decide they just want to get out of the project, they could sell 25% of the whole supply and really crash the entire project. I said that was the last thing, but we'll say this is actually the last thing, and it's to check for any delistings on exchanges. This is something that very rarely happens, I would say, in crypto. You don't often see projects that just get delisted from exchanges, other than the reason being that it's a dead project. Unfortunately, I've been a victim of that. I've invested in a project that I thought would do really well, and it's ended up getting delisted off Binance, which is a huge exchange to get delisted from. So I think I'm a bit of a victim of a dead project there. Usually when it gets to that stage of something being delisted, it's probably already too late, depending on when you got in. I hope this sort of list can help you when it comes to checking your own tokens that you're holding, and just to see if there are any dead ones that are in your portfolio. Just because a token has been around in crypto for a while, it doesn't mean it's there to stay. I've sort of realized that with a couple of projects that did well in 2017 for me. I decided to buy these tokens up for the next bull run, thinking they would do really well, and it's been outperformed by a lot of new projects instead. But yeah, at the end of the day, if you do all of the steps that I mentioned today, you will start to get a better idea on even how the project is run, how the community actually sees the project as well, so you can just make your own decisions down in the future. I suppose on a bit of a side note, all of these checks that you're actually doing today could be used when you're researching new projects before even buying them. So it's really handy information to sort of know just where to look and sort of the websites to use for it. If you can really master some of these steps when it comes to actually researching some of these projects, then you could even find the next 100x. Who knows? Hopefully you will. If you enjoyed the video, then please leave a like, comment, subscribe, notification bell, follow the TikTok, the Telegram, the Instagram, the Twitter, and notifications for all of those, I suppose, as well. Other than that, that is going to be everything. There's no more waffling from me today. I hope you're having a good week, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.